Hey everyone! So welcome to our podcast, Everything Long Island, and I'm here with my beautiful wife and partner, Melanie. Say hi.
Hello.
And we're here at our Berkshire Hathaway office in Woodbury, and today we just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, about Mexico, because there's a lot going on out there, and we've been. If we're going to be honest, we've been looking to purchase our own place in Mexico so we can vacation out there and stay in our own home.
Yeah.
And
prices are kind of all over the place,
right?
you know?
We've been learning that the market seems to be adjusting right now in a lot of parts of Mexico.
So it's a buyer's market, essentially.
Yeah. Especially like the Riviera Maya area.
Because of the sargassum, which we spoke about the last time.
Well, and that, and believe it or not, it's like any place else in the world. They had for several years, they've had a hot real estate market, and developers overdeveloped. Too many new constructions, and so right now you have a ton of inventory that's come to the market, and that's driving prices down a little bit.
Yeah, it's great. Great opportunities out there.
Yeah, so we've been looking around, and we've been learning a little bit about the areas there, areas like Playa del Carmen. We're looking at, what was some of the other areas?
I'm so not good with that.
Playa Modelos. We've been looking at Tulum. Quite a bit of areas out there in the Riviera Maya that are, right now, they're showing great potential and opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's great. I think when people think about Mexico that live in this country, they don't really realize how much development and how many great things they're doing over there. And it's not a third world country like
not at all.
You may think cartels and and that's it.
Well, that's a reality
Cancun,
for sure.
But it's not just Cancun or cartels. It's there's a lot more.
The cartels. Hell, we have our own versions here, right? We have a bunch of gangs.
Sure. And it's 13 on Long Island.
Yeah, and you have a bunch of others, but let's remember Mexico, like the United States, it's a huge country, and the cartels aren't everywhere, and they're doing their own thing, and every once in a while something happens, but I think the media makes it more than it is. But no, Mexico, are you kidding? Mexico is like hot right now as a country. Listen, just with importing, they are trying to compete with the Panama Canal, and they've created incredible train systems where they're a great option for shippers to not use the Panama Canal. It's becoming more efficient. You go through Mexico, they hop them on these trains, and they just bring them right, and then they put them on 18-wheelers, and then you cross the border and you're here, which is a lot quicker than going through to the Panama Canal. So Mexico's been investing a ton in that. They also invested just for the for their residents they just spent like $30 billion in a new train system to commute you across the many parts of the country, and just live in Mexico City. It also has so much going on, so many ways to travel. They're a blossoming country. They've really put a lot of focus on education, tons of focus on science, agriculture. They have really innovated.
Oh yeah.
So much with agriculture. I'll give you an example. Right now, they, a lot of parts, and even here in the United States, Florida, there's parts of Florida, other parts of the Caribbean, are seeing a lot of sargassum, which is seaweed. Tons and tons of seaweeds coming to the beaches, and Mexico has figured out what to do with it. Like they're collecting this stuff, and they're turning it into bricks for their local construction. They're turning it into fertilizer. Think about this.
Yeah, we've spoken about that before.
They're right. So they're really innovating. It just gives you an idea that if you thought it was like a third world country,
it's so not.
It is definitely not. Even driving across Mexico, they have, basically turnpikes. Like
Yeah.
you paid turnpikes is super highway.
And you can get
across.
Amazon deliveries. I mean,
That's a big
which
thing.
is incredible.
Amazon does deliver there.
Which,
anywhere in
I mean,
Mexico.
if you think about that, that's just crazy.
I know for Melanie that's huge.
Well, it is huge because you know what? There's certain things that you used to.
In fact, that was
really
actually
a
her
cooking
first
thing.
question to me. Can I get my Amazon deliveries there? I'm like, I look into it and it's like, yeah, you definitely can. She's like, okay, then I'll move.
What's the process of moving to Mexico as like an American?
Well,
That's a good
I think it's
question.
like a lot of places, right? They have certain visas that they give you. In general, most places, whether you're going to Mexico or Costa Rica, you're going into Europe somewhere, Spain. There's different visas, right? There's you can try to apply like to be a resident. You can get a work visa. And you can also have what they call a nomad visa, for example. If you're like someone that's a digital worker, that you can qualify under the nomad visa, and you just have to show employment and things like that.
Or you can do it as a retiree.
Or you can do it as a retiree, and you can do that with any country. But Mexico, yes, gives you that option. And a lot of people choose to, even if they're not staying there full time, they choose to be residents. And there's two ways basically to qualify for residency there. One is through a purchase of a property.
Okay.
I believe it's somewhere around now at this point almost $500,000 purchase.
Oh.
Or you can do it by income. And the threshold is much lower. I don't quote me on it because offhand I don't recall, but I think if you can show you get from your Social Security or your pension something like $50,000 a year or something like that, or you have X amount of savings. Let's say you have a couple of $100,000 in the bank and it's been there, you can source it and show you've had it for 6-7 months in there. That alone will qualify you for residency. So there's different ways. What I would say is, call your local consulate or speak to a professional that knows all the rules. But yeah, it is either through real estate or through some sort of pension or income that you get.
And then working there. I mean, if you're going to work there, let's say you decide, I want to go over to Mexico and I want to find a job there, or I want to start a business there. So there's certain routes that you have to go through in order to be allowed to work there. You can't just go there on a retirement visa and then just say, you know what, I decided I want to work. You have to go through a different process.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Yeah, and like anywhere, they do have, they are trying to attract certain employees. So obviously, if you're in high tech, because they've had a lot of semiconductor companies moving into Mexico and making that their home base. So they're looking for high-tech employees, middle management folks. They're in big demand. So definitely you can certainly move to Mexico and work that way.
Yeah.
You just have to find employment first. But those are industries in demand or positions that are in demand in Mexico.
And there's good ways to learn about it without having to necessarily go there first. You can watch YouTube videos and follow people that are doing it. You can go into Facebook groups and learn about areas, learn about different, cultures. Maybe you're an Italian person, so you want to find other Italians that live in these areas. You can look it up and see if there's a group of Italians in Playa del Carmen or whatever, and you can ask around.
In Playa Ventura, there's a good sizable Italian
population.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of them have moved there and lived there and opened their own Italian restaurants in Mexico.
In Mexico?
Yeah, in Mexico. Yeah. So
it's pretty cool.
It's very interesting. So I think if you want to get something abroad, which right now with the dollar and everything, it's great to invest. And, to have something that is solid and concrete, kind of like gold. Its value goes up and down. You buy a property and, the value goes up and down, but it's something that you always have. And it's just something to really research and, look around. And as we would always tell you, tell us about it. We can be your referring agent. We can find that right agent. We can get you set up. We can figure it out. We can help you negotiate and be there all across the whole transaction to make sure that things are happening right. I mean, there's still the home inspection that you have to get through.
Yeah, no.
So how are you doing that when you don't even know heads or tails and you don't know how to read the inspection report, or you don't know, answers to certain questions? Then there's, how about the tax ramifications? So we can direct you in the right way with that. So there's just a whole lot of things. It's not that you just kind of go out there and say sayonara. We have experience, and we do this all the time, and we've kind of been on the road a little, so to speak, to figure out who the right players are.
No, I agree.
Certain areas,
I agree 100%. You want to have, local people like us representing you. Number one, because we've been looking at these places ourselves. Whether it's Mexico, Costa Rica. Actually, we even put a couple of offers on properties in Costa Rica. So we know the process. We have a very good idea of how things function in a lot of these countries. And she's right, there is a lot that goes with it. Like,
a lot.
So for example, here in, let's say in New York, you figure you have closing costs. Your closing costs are somewhere around 6%, right, of the of the
essentially,
price.
Yeah.
In Mexico, closing costs can go up to 8%. Okay, because there's a lot more that goes into it. You typically you have to put it into a corporation.
Yep.
You have to use basically a notary there, but what happens is that it gets put into almost like a corporate fund that you every year have to pay into it.
Yep.
Okay, but that gives you the legal structure to hold property over there.
Right.
So every one of these countries is a little different.
But it's interesting because you're paying in the upfront cost to get in and purchase the property, but then the taxes may only come out to $500 to $1,500 a year.
In Mexico.
So
especially.
it's completely different. Yeah. It's like a different pay structure. So we can also explain all that so that you're going into it and nothing catches you by surprise.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton that goes into it, and not having the experience or not being there for every step of it can be daunting. So having folks like us, I think really is a game changer, and we stay on top of the whole thing, and we make sure you're safe.
Yeah, that's why we walked away from properties that we
we
put offers in Costa Rica. We knew too much. We knew too much of what we weren't being told to feel comfortable enough to move forward.
I'll give you a little, since Mel is mentioning it, I'll give you a little bit of personal information on our last deal in Costa Rica.
Well, let's do the first one.
Yeah.
We looked at a place in a building, and we made an offer. It finally got accepted. And what went wrong? Remember with the seller?
I don't remember that one. What happened?
The seller wanted to take out the ability for us to have any legal.
Oh yes, so there was like every contract they have clauses, and there was a clause that gave you the a choice to go through mediation or go through court. Well, he was trying to eliminate that clause. Didn't
Which
want it to be
basically
part
means
of it.
we can screw you.
Right.
And you have nothing to, save you.
Right. So he was trying to get us to agree to eliminate the only resource we would have had
to
have any
help
legal help in if something went wrong with the deal.
Right. Which is insane.
So we fought about that for a couple of weeks, and then
we said, you know what, screw you, and and we didn't move forward with that. So that was very interesting when you think about that. And remember, when you're purchasing something, I mean, even with us, it gets a little emotional at moments.
Of course.
And you have to kind of, put on the brakes and stop and say, okay, well, what is this? Is this gonna benefit us? Can this hurt us?
Does it make sense?
Does it make
sense? Normal?
Are they going through the proper? I mean, there's still normal things that go on in a real estate transaction that if they're not happening, it. So, tell them about the second one.
And then the second one, we Melanie went out to Costa Rica. I wasn't able to go with her, and she spent several days there. And she finally found us a single-family home.
It was great.
Yeah, it had a couple. I think it was 2 stories. It had a
was.
garage, and it had its own pool, and it was
Yep.
a very nice place.
Great.
So
Right outside at Tamarindo.
our offer gets accepted,
Yeah.
and we move to the phase of inspection. I mean, we're ready to go. Like, we're inspecting this property, and it all goes well. We'll start, giving escrow and all that.
But when I'm there and I'm taking video, Jesse says, make sure that the inspector brings a drone because
Yes.
I'm kind of curious about the roof. It doesn't look right to
Yeah,
me.
because I had looked at the pictures that they did have. There's still images, and I look with a critical eye as a contractor, experienced realtor. I pick up things very quickly, especially anything that's structural. And I had questions about the roof, so
We even told the agent,
yep.
if the inspector can't bring the drone, reschedule. And guess what?
So of course, well, we have inspection, and he doesn't bring a drone.
He'll come back.
So I speak to the inspector while he's at the property, and I ask him a few questions, and he's, oh no, man, the
Roof
house
looks
is good.
great.
It's in good shape. Everything's good. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. So I wait for the report, and I get the report, and holy crap! I mean,
Everything's bad.
there's a lot of bad stuff. Like one of the bathrooms, he blatantly writes, "There's a foul smell coming from the shower."
Yeah.
That's a
But doesn't
sign
tell
that
us when
something
he's
is
there.
wrong. You know what I mean? And then I'm
Remember the tank? There was some kind of backup.
and I'm looking at some of the water tanks, and I'm seeing a lot of sediment in it, and that I can see from the pictures myself.
Yeah.
And he took pictures.
And Jesse's like, where's the sediment from? It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Everything is fine.
fine.
Everything's fine. And then of course I'm looking at, I get to see some of the wiring, and it's really sketchy, and then of course he takes pictures of underneath the bathroom vanity, and he takes a picture of the plumbing, and I'm looking at that plumbing, and I'm like, it looks like it's held by duct tape. I'm like, wait a second. And mind you, we're paying about $400,000 for this place.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
What the hell?
So long story short, I keep scrutinizing this report, and I'm like, I'm not convinced. I'm like, there's more going on with this house.
And he kept saying it. Mel, there's more going on with this house.
Yeah.
And when is the drone coming out? When are we getting the drone?
And
When is he
everything
doing
was, there's a little marks, there's some marks on the ceiling, but all you need is paint.
And we're like, how did the marks get there?
Right, how did they get there, and how come just painting is the solution?
And did you use one of those machines that the little handheld to touch it to see if it's wet?
Yeah.
Like what? He's like, what?
So to not bore you, what ends up happening is, I go back and forth
And you call?
with the realtor that's there at Costa Rica. I call. I decide I'm calling another contract. Like, I'm literally calling contractors. So I found these contractors. They do new construction. They've been around a long time. I have them scheduled to go out, and I have the inspector scheduled to come out also with a drone the next day.
To finally do the drone.
Lord and behold, around 8:00 at night, the night before everyone's supposed to go back to the house, I get a video.
We get this video.
With pouring rain coming through the
skylight over the steps.
Oh my God.
And falling right into the staircase. But I mean, tons of
Yeah,
rain
like a waterfall. And we're like,
into the house.
Yeah.
And that video came from the property manager.
Yeah.
Because I guess they must have gone to see the house. And here's another thing. During Mel's showing, they couldn't get into one of the bathrooms.
Yeah.
The door is locked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
What a
can't get in
coincidence.
there, and I was like,
They couldn't get into it.
Okay.
So, of course, I don't even have to say it, but once I got that video with all the water pouring into it,
We were like,
this
Lita.
deal's done. Like, I'm out of here. I am not doing it.
Yeah.
Of course, I ended up having to pay the inspector because I didn't want the realtor to be responsible for it, so I did the right thing and paid the inspector, even though he was a horrible inspector.
Horrible.
But this is what happened to us, and if it wasn't because we've been doing this a long time,
Yeah.
and I already knew something was wrong just by what I was reading and looking at. You
lose money,
Someone
a lot
else
of
could have
money.
gone forward and given their escrow
Deposit and-
and just had a hard time.
And you guys are experts too.
Here we are. So it was scary.
Yeah, it was
very
like
scary.
what a nightmare, and so yeah, these things happen. You
Yeah,
know?
shit
when you're in
happens.
another country, everybody's like laid back and everything's okay.
Yeah, they say mañana, and you know what mañana means? Not today, and I don't know when.
Yeah, that's what it does mean.
That's what they say. That's a Costa Rica mañana.
Yeah,
We'll do it
mañana
mañana.
it really does mean not today.
It means
you
not
just don't
today,
know when though.
and we can't tell you when we're gonna feel like getting up to that. And you're like, holy crap!
It could be horrible, or it could be a really good experience, but
Yeah.
it's really who you work with.
And not just that, but imagine with the condition of what we're talking about. So now imagine you go, I want to build on my own. Let me buy a piece of land. There's been stories that we heard of people like running away with all the money. You buy the land, okay, but now you got to develop the land, and you give the contractor the money, and boom, he's gone.
Well, not only that,
we
especially in
heard
Costa
stories like
Rica.
that.
Costa Rica is like rogue, and no, there's guys that people build wherever they want, and then what's been happening since last year in Costa Rica is they finally appointed like a czar to go around, because the one thing about Costa Rica, they have tons of nature and this beautiful ecological system that they have, and people were building like in the middle of the forest without permits, building on these protected waterfronts.
Yeah.
And now you have the government coming down, inspecting and
saying
basically
you can't be here.
You're done.
This isn't yours.
You can't
This
be
is
here.
the
They're
government's
taking them
land.
away.
They don't
Yeah.
have property lines in Costa Rica?
No, it's like the Wild West. Over there.
Yeah, it's the Wild West, so it's a little
No,
scary.
it's
So that's
very
why
sketchy.
Mexico, they got their
Well,
shit
they have
together.
their shit together. They definitely
So
are
unless
much
you're
more
going to
organized.
unless you're going to be buying a really high-end property in Costa Rica that's in a development that's kind of an international back development, you really, you're not going
Yeah,
to
you have
want
to be careful, because even the developments.
Yeah,
The one thing about Costa Rica is they don't really have to have reserves in their HOAs.
Yeah.
Not like here.
Nope.
So you have to be very careful, because a lot of times, especially the small developments, really are the notorious ones.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden they run out of money because there's
And you're left holding the bag.
no reserves that they have to have, and
No bueno.
all of a sudden the
That's what
buildings
we
start
say.
falling apart. So yeah, there's so many moving parts when you buy internationally.
Yeah, it's really crazy. So
But we're here for you.
we are.
Team Bona Fide has been doing this for quite a while.
And when we go out to Mexico, we will be sure to bring you with us.
Well, yeah.
Hopefully, we
gonna,
can bring Trey.
If we buy out there, we're going to document everything.
Yeah, do it, Trey.
We're going to document
We need our
it all,
film
so
there.
you see,
Kinda get
every
a
step of the
taste.
way and really understand the process.
Yeah,
So we'll bring you into,
into the fold.
into the fold
so
of
to
what we're
speak.
doing. But yeah, guys, give us a call or comment on anything, on this segment or any others. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah,
We'd
we'd love
love
it.
to speak to you
Where can
and
we
help
find
you.
guys?
Well, you can find us on Instagram at Bonafide FHE.
Or Bonafide Melanie, Melanie, or you can go on our website, which is bonafidefhe.com. You can really find us anyway.
Hey,
any way
all you have to
slice-
do
any way you
is
slice
just
it.
Google search Team Bona Fide, and we'll come up, or
Yep. Team
yeah.
Bonafide at Berkshire Hathaway
Berkshire
Home
Hathaway.
Services,
We're
Lafayette
everywhere.
International
Or
Realty.
just Melanie Calmer, and she'll
Yep.
pop up. Believe me, you'll see every video and everything we do. She's all over the place.
All over the place. So we're happy to be here for you and help you with all your real estate needs. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And remember, like and subscribe.
Totally. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.